Welcome back to Gallagher Shots. This is Instant Reaction. I'm Jess. I'm joined by Emil.
Hello.
Where do we start? We'll start with the lineup. Emil, where did it go wrong?
Well, the thing is, it's weird with the lineup. I don't know how you felt about it, Jess, but obviously the lack of Wilson in there, as much as we might have benefited from him being on the pitch today, was probably for the best in that he didn't suffer further. I mean, a lot of fans have been saying, why is he playing injured players? We didn't have him in the squad at all today, much to the malign of my fantasy team, sadly, which was a disaster. But then we had Kieran Clark coming back, and I saw the stats that Kieran Clark was actually the most prolific scorer after Wilson, I think, come into the team.
I saw that as well, which was quite depressing to say the least. But I saw before the game started, when the lineup came out, I saw a lot of tweets saying no Wilson, no Miggy, no hope, which resonates. That's exactly how I felt as well. What
did you think of the jet lag comments, by the way? I know that Miggy came on, but what were your views on that?
Well, I mean, I don't know bloody time differences or what have you, but
it's about 11 hours.
I think the fact that we wanted him back and the fact that he didn't. I know there's a lot of talk by the Paraguayan FA or whatever they're called. They said he wasn't allowed to come back. There's obviously been all this hoo-ha with his agent and stuff. I found it quite spiteful. Well, I think, is that the right word? Quite spiteful. No. Quite spiteful that he didn't come back, knowing fine well that we were the 12:30 kickoff on the Saturday. I think the fact he wasn't involved in the game, getting back as soon as possible in my eyes. So
spiteful from whose side though? From us, with us not playing him, or do you think spiteful from him not coming back?
From him not coming back. Sorry. Yes. Spiteful. Yeah. But then again, was that spiteful on us as well?
You can never
to not play him. So
I honestly think that pettiness amongst player and team is non-existent. It is something that is just drummed up by the news sources, and this is where you get to you get to these rumours that fuel stories, that fuel arguments between the players, which perhaps aren't existent. I personally think that Steve Bruce, in the one defence prior to the match, was that he came out and called out the agent. And,
absolutely. The two Bob agent.
Yes, he did get back late, and that was that. But I'll be honest, apart from Wilson, I didn't have many qualms with the lineup, simply because what can we do in the current situation? Ryan Fraser's unavailable, Wilson's unavailable. Joe Linton's the next striker.
I know a lot of people, myself included, were quite happy to see Hendrick dropped.
I think that was the saving grace, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It felt like that was a long time coming because he's offered nothing. Basically, it's a waste of a place in my eyes. So
and a bad international break from him as well, as we discussed in extra time. He got the red card, and absolutely. Hayden should be starting every week, and I think as much as we will go on to say the game didn't exactly play to our benefits, whatever they might be, having Hayden and Longstaff in the middle, I would much prefer going forward. So maybe that's something to build on. But
so I think we were 8 or 9 minutes in, and the captain of our lovely lads 11 made an absolute howler.
What a bastard,
and scored an own goal. He's being demoted from captain.
Has he been? Yeah.
FYI.
straight to Lascelles. Oh God, yeah. It's so annoying when it happens with a nice lad like Fernandez, because he doesn't mean it, and we've pointed out on all Twitter accounts that legs getting mixed up seems to be the thing. Chris saying it the other week. I don't know why these individual errors are slipping in, but it just did. I don't know what was going on, but I think there was a theme from Chelsea that balls were just going across the face of our goal, and it's either going to touch one of theirs or one of ours. And for some reason, he's just got mixed up, firing it in the wrong direction. It could have easily gone out.
I mean, I think we're skipping ahead here to the second goal, but for both of the goals, although being totally different, I think the first goal, the ball passed 3 players before it got to Fernandez. Yeah. And then for the second goal, I think they went past 4 players. So the problem seems to be that everyone's just stood there like what I can't think what is it, like lackadaisical, is that the word, where they're just like stood,
I think
letting them all.
the best one was Born Idle from the other week that we
Yeah.
had. Born Idle
Born
seems to be
idle.
my current phrase for all pundits and Newcastle players at the minute. It is. There's just no drilling from them. They don't look like they are arsed about the fact that teams are getting in behind us, and it's a far cry from the old Newcastle that we saw being so tight at the back. I mean, 15% possession, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't good in that first bit, and I don't know what it was. I mean, there was a few bits in the first half where we seemed to come alive. Not that we had a shot on target, but Saint-Maximin got a bit in the box.
I never thought I'd say this, but he's getting on my nerves. he I don't know where he thinks he's got all this time from, but he's just got no sense of urgency. All these like little step overs and tricks and whatever, that's all well and good, but you need to have something at the end of it. I think there was twice when he could have hit the ball first time and had a decent shot, go of it.
And he goes across the box again, doesn't he? He kind of cuts in, then loses out of time.
The best way I can describe it is he's fannying about. He's just, do you know what I mean? He's just...
Saint-Maximin.
Alan Saint-Maximin. There was just so many times when he was just like doing all these like step overs and tricks and blah blah blah. And yes, it looks good, but it only looks good when there's something on the end, when you've got a shot or a goal on the end of it. If you're just gonna end up losing the ball at the end of it, what's the point?
It worked against Burnley. It worked against Burnley with that goal. It's worked against some teams like Southampton.
Exactly.
But when you're playing against Chelsea,
it's not going to work.
As we heard in the first bit, you know, they've spent this much on this team. Chelsea are aiming to try and break down the Liverpool Man City reign at the top. So fair play to them. But I mean, the fact is, once again, we've also faced a side a bit like Man United, a bit like Everton, a little bit like Southampton, a team that isn't technically at full strength and not firing on all cylinders, and we didn't capitalise on that. And that really is the downfall of us. And it didn't go well into the second half either.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say the only other thing from the first half was the speculative shot from Joe Linton, who kind of went from the halfway line. It was almost like he's in the stadium, he's imagining that there's fans in there just going shoot, and that, you know, for some reason, even though there's no one there, he did it anyway. But it seemed desperate, and it was.
That's exactly it, desperate. I mean, to take a shot from 35 yards at that stage in the game is just like, let's just see what happens. But so at half time, our friends over at Anyone's Game tweeted some stats, which I've noted down because
you've made notes. Come on, let's have it.
I'm very professional, you know. So we at half time we had 21% possession, which is unacceptable. Our pass accuracy was 63% in comparison to Chelsea's 91%. We completed 69 passes in comparison to their 400. We'd completed 33 of those in the opposition's half, whereas 252 for Chelsea, and we'd made 179 touches in comparison to their 513.
We're just a meme of a club, aren't we?
I'm lost for words there. Like, that is absolutely appalling.
It was like when we mentioned that chart the other week about an article about Arsenal being bad, and yet Newcastle was still behind them.
We were in the corner, just like, what about us?
See, it's really bad, and the halftime stats were just ridiculous. I mean, we have to pay credit to Jake Humphrey's words about us wanting to just get one shot on target.
That's it.
And I think everyone's hopes perked up at the start of the second half when they saw Lascelles going off for Shea. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the commentary team did point it out that Lascelles actually was on the pitch for a few seconds, and then the change happened. So I think most of the reporters who were at the match, Miles from the Shields Gazette, said Newcastle unchanged, and I looked again and it said deleted, and then Shea was coming on. Lascelles had actually come on the pitch and then decided he didn't fancy it. So again, another point was made about how who is deciding if these players are coming on or off. But again, I mean, maybe an injured Lascelles would have been better than a sleeping Shea that we seem to have on when he practically passed the ball to Chelsea again. Timo Werner might not be hitting it at full potential in the league at the minute, but you still don't want to give him any opportunity to get that ball to him.
No, that's it. We were just sitting back and inviting pressure. But then when the pressure, like I think I tweeted about it earlier, once the pressure's actually applied, we're just dumbfounded. We're literally just standing and watching it happen, as if we're like shocked that they're having a go, because that's the complete opposite of what we're doing.
It's like a game of chess, and they've got you cornered, and you're just going to try and defend until the point at which you can't go on any longer. Yes, I have been watching a few episodes of The Queen Gambit on Netflix. If anyone is interested in where I've got that stat from, but it was very akin to what Newcastle play like. However, I did note down, Jess, that we did have some opportunities in the second half. Now, I replied to the tweet from NUFC saying just aim somewhere in the Gallagher, mainly for that glass bit in the Gallagher.
I know exactly what you...
so slow. And then for some reason, Isaac Hayden gets the ball. Okay, he might have handballed it, but he skies it in the exact direction of where I told him to go. Shortly after, Joe Linton does the exact same. And that was that. And I think apart from Longstaff's hit off the bar, those were the only opportunities we had. Yeah. So there was a few bright bits in the second half. But again, why aren't we capitalising on them? If Wilson had been on the pitch, would it have been any different, do you think? I honestly don't know.
No, I'm going to say no, because there was Wilson is there to be on the end of the play. He's on the end of the chance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's the final man. He puts it away. He doesn't do the build up, and there's no one doing the build up. So this goes back to the argument about Joe Linton. When we're all sat here slagging Joe Linton off, Joe Linton can't do anything unless people are helping him out. Do you know what I mean? There was no one there. If Wilson was playing today, there was no one there to help him out.
And there was a full-on attempt as well as soon as he had that shot, and that was the issue. Again, you know, Twitter seeks to find someone. Hendrick obviously wasn't on the pitch today, but there was no one there to have a crack at, so Joe Linton got a bit of the brunt. But again, though, there was a few mistakes, but again, Wilson was playing the same position as Joe Linton. It doesn't matter who you put in that position, we still aren't getting any balls into decent positions. And I know that he's not a full-on striker to get on the edge of the box and have a shot and get a shot on target. But the one thing that happened in that time was that he probably, I don't know, it's just frustrating. But the whole team weren't exactly up for it today. And like you said before, it was just a walkthrough for the second goal as well. It was just...
I don't think I'll never be able to understand what Longstaff and I think it was Fernandez were doing for that second. Like I say, they've just stood and watched it happen and just let it go by.
Passengers.
I think it was 4 players that they got by. When you think where the build up of play started, to get past 4 players and then to get a goal again is unacceptable. It's
just a mess.
It's not on.
What did you think of? I mean, there was the offside third, but again, it was a mirror play of each of their attacks. So you know, it was probably just a lucky escape from us, and the score didn't flatter Chelsea. But Almiron had a bit of a go when he came on. Do you think that it again adds fuel to the fire of him maybe starting?
Personally, I would have started. I think I say this every.
He didn't look tired, did he? He didn't look tired at
all. He's a grafter, and from the get go today, that's exactly what we were lacking, because there was no one there to just have a go. There were no one looked like they wanted to be there. Everyone was just stood around, it was kind of like shoulders down, heads down.
It was a carbon copy of the Southampton game.
Yeah, it was like
Fabian Schär, everyone had a shit game. It is. I hope he does the same interview.
Yeah,
the exact same thing.
It was. It was like, it's almost as if we've admitted defeat before we've even kicked a ball. Totally. Just no. It doesn't look like anyone wants to be there. And people can talk about Steve Bruce all they want and say he's a nice man. He's a good at the man management side of things. That's absolutely that's all well and good. But
I'm just going to disable my blur for a second and point out But enough is enough, Steve. It needs to
It
change.
Really is.
It needs
really
to
is.
change. We can't have that again. I think everyone's made the point, so I'm going to risk sounding like everybody. But 2 weeks to prepare for that game, an international break where not many members of the team were actually even out. Chelsea have been away, and yes, they are world class, but to at least not even be able to have a goal. We don't want them to come out and score 5. We do, but we're not expecting that. We expect them to at least have a crack, man, because this was the same in January when we played them and we beat them 1-0. And we shouldn't have beaten them 1-0 at the start of this year. And that is the thing. That is the difference for a Steve Bruce game. We played the same game in January. Hayden was lucky to get a ball and Saint-Maximin was cracking to get an assist. It just happened to work for us that day. And he'll be like, Longstaff's goal should have gone in. Hayden, if it had been a few inches lower, could have gone in. Joe Linton, if he'd been speculative, could have gone in. Yeah. We can't keep relying on these life flashing in front of your eyes moments. It's purely shithousing our way to the win, or draw or whatever. I mean, Chelsea weren't great today, and if there had been a thing that went in, but the thing is, if we'd got a point, there would have been some defences. Because they would have been like, well, we got a point. It's all right.
Exactly. I would have said, I'm not even exaggerating. I would have said 5 or 6-0 would have been a fair scoreline.
The good thing about that, Jess,
from Chelsea's side.
The good thing about that is that this result now cannot get swept under the carpet in the same way. In the same way the Southampton one can't. If we'd beaten Chelsea or we'd drawn against Chelsea, Southampton game would have been a far cry from what we know. And now it's 2 on the trot, as well as what was it before Southampton? Was it a 1-1 or was it Everton? Sorry, Everton. But even then, Everton, we didn't play the best, but we won. So you forget about that one. Same with Burnley, same with West Ham. Games where we haven't exactly played well, but we've managed to get the points. Now is where it starts slipping away. And now is where questions will start getting asked. And he's not to sound like everyone else, but he's a damn sight lucky that there's no one in the ground.
That's it. That's exactly it. And like you've just said as well, the fact that they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this, and some of the players literally looked like they'd met each other for the first time on the pitch.
Sad, you know what I mean? There's no gelling, is there? And yet there's players in that team today, for example, apart from Lewis, all of them players played with each other last season.
Exactly. Lewis was the only one, actually. Yeah.
Lewis is the only one there. Darlow aside, who's not been in the team, but
there's nothing between them.
Can we just? We should probably end on a high note. Jess, I completely bypassed the fact that there was 2 cracking Darlow saves in the first half, and going back to my point about Chelsea not necessarily being full force today. If it wasn't for Darlow in that first half with the 2 saves in quick succession, we would have been going down 4, 5, 6, whatever. Because the confidence would have just dropped. And
100%.
My patience went after Man United, but today it's just absolute apathy.
Yeah, we can't rely again for another season. We can't rely on our goalkeeper to be our best player. That's not how it should be.
We haven't even got our best goalkeeper in him. We're relying on the goalkeeper.
Exactly.
We're relying on our second best goalkeeper to be the best person on the pitch. And I don't like to talk about luck, but it ran out last season towards the end. We are now running on empty with it. And as much as we might be lucky this year based on other teams like Fulham and Burnley and perhaps West Brom, that might run out as well because those teams have an opportunity to turn it around with a new manager. We will take too long.
They can. We're not the only ones that can shithouse results. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
If those 3 teams shithouse the odd result as we have, and we keep throwing away games as we have, it'll not take long before they've caught up and then they've overtaken us, and then before you know it, we're in the bottom 3, we're in a relegation battle, we're fighting for survival, and we're down.
McLaren.
No, it's like history is repeating itself.
We've probably gone on too long there, but that's all right. I think so. By the way, Jess, can I just point out that these ring lights are absolutely fantastic, by the way.
I'm going to have to
you can
get
them
myself
off
one.
eBay. They are about 20, maybe just under that. You can get someone from your YouTube channel to buy them.
It's very nice.
If you want to get one, please get in touch with Chris Wallace. They are available. If you enter the promo code GetFucked, you iPad wanker.
How many followers have you got though?
I've got about 50,000 combined over my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Bebo, MSN, and I'm just rolling in it, Jess. It's an amazing big light that you've got in your house to provide that drab atmosphere behind you.
That's just my angelic ambience.
Hashtag drab.
But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you again soon.